Hello, good morning. Thank you for invitations, and let's start my presentation now. Today, I want to speak about how we experience the city space while walking. Uh, this is about the pedestrian experience, and it show the first person perspective and involves looking at the city with all possible circumstances of such an experience. Uh, this is the perspective which of pedestrian as as a participant of the road, as a user making or city making, non-stop making non-stop decision on how to use the existing urban space, and as an entirety influencing the shaping of the city reality through daily practice. Let's say about experience now. City as experience. It's a term when we consider the city directly, feel the city directly, is about the direct perception. It's a lack of the mediation gives us access to the urban environment and engage our activities locally, and thus to local knowledge. City as experience also is the practice of every day, the opportunities that urban structure offers or offer us are taken personally, formed by action, by our action, is both an illustration of what an individual does in the space and of the conventional pattern of culturally learned and interpreted behavior that makes understandable for others. And thus, having one's own experience is also situated in culture. Saying about the experience in city, we cannot avoid the urban reality. The reality is always difficult to grasp. Perceived lived experience by the pedestrian has a connection with the material city, the social city, and the humanistic city, which penetrate each other instantly in order to give some direction and enable action is an active. The city enact our life. Okay. The question is how to see city through the eyes of pedestrian. I always was wonder how space I design becomes one's place. Since one of the square in Poland I work on, what was used to organize a happening and protest against this decision of the officials, I started to be more and more interested in the way of using urban space by inhabitants. I have developed a method of studying the city in motion to increase the possibilities of understanding about urban space with experience, with pedestrian experience. I have strived to capture perceptual moments, register movements, and changes. I also aim to record experience that are not distorted in order to investigate the the current state of urban space seen by a pedestrian, I built a research model around the basic activity, which is walking in city, or also called city in motion. Um, it's about the collecting and analyzing information about everyday space by recording pedestrian experiences in real time. For me, the steps taken by pedestrians become an embodied measure of space. They are his own unit of length. The participants of the research explain the world with their own experiences, their own words, and describe it from the first person perspective. Uh, the information is discovered in the context of the everyday life activities. The method that I propose in my work embeds a person deeply in reality of the place and in the social situations. In other words, it is not only a collection of data, but it's a contextualized fragment of reality. So, how it will work? City through pedestrian eye and walking is the way I developed my research. Why? Walking is a very simple activity. Pedestrian moving in urban spaces, just like car drivers, also maneuvers. His body, his motor sensory profile is the corporal equivalent of motor vehicles. While walking, the pedestrian maneuvers with his own body. He feels all properties of the surfaces on himself, sees building from near and far, avoid obstacles and collisions, passes other people, raise and lower his eyes in search of information. He hears a horn and other sounds, and more and more. The act of working is also a kind of self-organization activities. Pedestrians have to answer to many design mistakes. As a designer, I know that there are many mistakes that we sometimes cannot avoid because lack of information, lack of knowledge. Handling to the pedestrian in unfriendly conditions involves situational and temporal or permanent agency work. This is why we should understand pedestrian better. I developed this method to study cities in motion, and information received from the first hand enable me to do this. So I assume that the diversified structure of experience, fragments of human cognitivity process reveal urban reality without distortion. And I developed it to create graphical tools to analyze the experience, because it's very important that that we can use accurate tools to describe experience somehow, and to put it into timeline which related to the real time. Okay, and well, I gave the method a specific procedure that is resembles a perceived image of the space. this is important to know how space change while experience and how it becomes our mental space. My method consists of two stages. The first one is field work, and second one is analysis. The field work consists of three consecutive parts. First is a street walk, where I record pedestrian experience during walk. I do not show myself here. I just become a shadow. It's a shadowing method to receive information. And I use microphone and recorder, voice recorder, and pedometer to record all information I need. The second step is to have a meta walk, which is about the repeating the street walk, and try to find out there the differences between space in memory, in the motor sensory memory, and the street walk. And the last step is to draw cognitive map plus assessing attention system, which are related to all elements someone's draw on the cognitive maps. In my method, it's very important that I have the approach. I have the anthropological approach to and phenomenological approach to conduct the research. That means that anthropological approach help me understand someone's experience better. And phenomenological approach help me now realize that the reality, the situations around me, around someone's work, not to distort it, not to change the information I receive. Why conducting the field work, I document pictures, videos, voice recordings, step counting, and this is the example of the drawing cognitive, which would show the small, the short walk within the pink lines. This pink lines is a system of assessing attention. It shows what kind of events, of what kind of experience people pay more attention to. This curve, when it's high point, it's more intention. All things that are not appears on the drawing on cognitive map is just not exists in their memory. Is the second step, repeating the street walk in another place, is just my experimental step, because I try to realize to learn how short time after the street walk information can change, and it changed a lot in my finding. My finding shows it. Okay. And the second part of my method is about the analytical tools. It first also, it's first about the data conversion. All data from the street walk will be converted to the digital informations. The second step is filling data system with the timeline. I will show you next seconds. And the third step is data correction. Data correction is the step is important step to um, to change the image of the city that people remember. It gives the picture the right order again. Um, there are some tools I developed to analyze the experience, the space of experience. The first is about the dislocation of the events. So it shows all memories, how memory changes the order of the events. The second one is timeline and show the direction of our experience and how mental map reveals reviews what we think about this place or space. And the last one is our curves. We can find to describe our attention we pay to this place. My analyzing works looks like that. And I would like to say the last thing I would like to say that among many findings, I I would like to I would like to tell you about the closeness, which is which shows the relationship between what is perceived as real and what subjectively exists for consciousness, and objective urban organization of space. That closeness of everything around us has a spherical structure. The things which we find next to us uh, are more important for our reality and for our experience, and thus for our everyday practice. That's why we should care about our environment, urban environment, and care about what kind of experience we could find around us.